You mentioned Adam Smith, and I want to talk about how he sees greed and self-interest, and how that bakes into profit, right? And how it's actually really important that people, we think about the subjective purposes of business, and maybe people are doing things they're running their business out of the goodness of their heart and running a nonprofit. But he says, quote, "It is not that from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard for their own interests." And
What did you Google that? That's
I
exactly.
did. I
You
did.
just had that quote sitting there? Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think,
and this,
well, I know you're going to talk about it, but I think ultimately we should be looking out for our own interests. And if we're really looking out for our own interests, if we want our business to succeed, then we're going to really put more effort into our products. We're going to put more effort into our service and growing our business, investing in our businesses so that they can do more for customers so that we make more profit. But if we don't focus on that piece of profit, if we are just doing it out of the goodness of our hearts, at some point, we're probably going to burn out. We're probably not going to be able to make it. We're going to have so much stress and be so overwhelmed that we're actually not serving customers well because we can't operate at that level. But it's only through that profit that we can actually do good, and we do good because we're rewarded for it, right? So I want to hear your thoughts on it.
well, I gave a talk probably 3 months ago and about the purpose of business, and I said there are as many subjective reasons as there are people, and one of those reasons could be greed. And
Yeah.
boy, they did not like that. They really pounded on me. Well, what is greed? I'm not greedy. You're not greedy. It's that guy who's greedy. He wants this.
We're all greedy.
And look, there's a place. You have to define. We have to have a philosophy show and
Right.
define what greed is. But greed is a motivation that's legitimate as long as it doesn't involve theft or coercion or lying or abusing, taking advantage of a customer, which we talked about a little earlier before we started recording. You don't really take advantage of a customer if they're willing to purchase from you what you want to sell them. Now, if
Right.
it's a little old lady and you're a contractor and you go get a down payment and never show up again, yeah, that's greedy, that's theft, and that's not legitimate. But if you make an
that's
honest
fraud.
offer, that's fraud. uh, so, but Adam Smith's point was, it's whatever you're doing it for. If you want to improve your processes and make more profit, what do you have to do? I mean, really, what do you have to do? You have to cut costs. I have never met, people who aren't in business don't understand this, but I have never met ever a businessman who wasn't concerned with reducing the cost of producing his product. Sometimes you get to keep that, but pretty soon your competitors reduce their costs and you're back to the old margin and you have to do it again. Every business owner I've ever met is trying to find ways to reduce cost. They're also trying to find ways to raise prices and increase their margins, but they're ultimately always trying to reduce cost. And if you ever reach a point where you're making extraordinary profits, in economics they have a name for that, I can't remember the name of it. But what happens? You attract competitors to that market. Your competitors see the abnormal profits and say, hey, I want in on that. And over a relatively short period of time, generally, the market is driven back to what they call normal profits, which, meaning that they go down. So when you try to make all you can, matter of fact, my father used to say it's your duty to make all that you can, because that ultimately attracts competition. And matter of fact, that was, there are laws that require, the reverse monopoly laws are that you not withhold prices in order to drive your competition out of business. And then once you've done that, raise your prices again. Now that's the theory, and that's a little bit really hard to do. Way back with the old trust barons, people,
Especially
break
as a
with
small
the trust.
business, I think as a
Right.
true
We're not doing
monopoly, you probably could.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I think with profit and greed, I think we're all greedy. We all have self-interest. I think if we define greed as just a self-interest, it's innate in all of us. We're going to take care of our families. We're going to try to succeed and leave a legacy and all sorts of things, right?